Hello, everybody. Welcome. The WNBA 26th season finally started off this weekend, and after great momentum of the NCAA tournament, I was so excited for the season to start. So let's get into the games. Okay, so the first game we had was Indiana Fever versus the Washington Mystics, and we already know that Indiana went all out in the draft, so they're in a whole rebuilding process. So they kept 5 rookies on their team. So I was a little skeptical about how this game would start, knowing that Washington is has a pretty veteran team, but they just been plagued with injuries. But Indiana actually came out really aggressive and fearless, so that was actually nice. That was actually good to see. But then, like a few minutes go by in the game, and Washington's defense is just ridiculous. Like the inbound defense causing 5 second violations. The switches were on point. Their rotations were just everything was on point. It was just tough if you were just a rookie team because you could just see the even though the rookies were battling, it was just when Washington would push it on the transition side or attack them, you could just see the defensive miscommunications, which I feel like give them a few games, they'll get that together. So I'm not too worried about Indiana. They did look nice. Melissa Smith, Kelsey Mitchell, Tiffany Mitchell, and Emily Inkster all look nice for them. So this team's gonna be fine. They're gonna be good. So Washington ends up winning that game. The next game we have was the LA Sparks versus Chicago Sky. This was the first time Candace has played LA since she left and went to Chicago. So she had extra motivation in this game. And man, she played phenomenal. It was like watching Candace on the Sparks. It was so crazy. Like she couldn't miss hitting threes, passing, just no look pass, bringing the ball up. It was just vintage Candace. I love to see it. She actually that game actually passed Lauren Jackson and Simone Augustus for the most all-time points leading, most career points in the WNBA. So now she's 10th on the list. So congrats. But yeah, so for the LA Sparks, which is my team, they looked good. Neko Gumake was healthy. She looked good. Cambage got into foul trouble. So she got into foul trouble. So she didn't do much until the fourth quarter. Jordan Canada was really good. She kept getting to the paint at will, so she was able to dish it left and right. As soon as she would get to touch the paint, just NECA or whoever just absolutely dominated. On Chicago side, Dana Evans could not be stopped. She had a career night and just could not be stopped. Just oh yeah, Azrae Stevens and Misa Min looked really good too. So that front court of Chicago, it's still looking good. So Chicago's still looking like top 3 team, top or a team to Chicago's still looking like the team to they could go on a repeat. So 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 the game ends up going into overtime, and then so the game the entire time is back and forth, and then it looks like Chicago's going to win the game. But then Jordan Canada gets fouled on a three point attempt, and then makes all 3 free throws, sending it into overtime. And then once the Sparks got into overtime, I think Chicago only scored 3 points, and then the game was over. So Sparks looking good. So we like to see that. So the next game is the Las Vegas Aces versus the Phoenix Mercury. Las Vegas started off getting whatever they wanted. Nobody could miss. It was ridiculous. Like the entire game, just Las Vegas has too many weapons. It's just honestly ridiculous. Like Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Asia Wilson, and Hamby. Like they're all around. This no one could stop them. Phoenix could not score a basket at all. Phoenix was struggling to shoot from the field. The only person that was keeping the game pretty close or keeping them within reach was Skylar Diggins, but even then, it wasn't too close in reach. Phoenix took a lot of threes, were settling for a lot of threes, and they just weren't making any. So, pair that with Las Vegas making almost everything, yeah, it was just recipes for disaster. What I did like for Phoenix was seeing Tina Charles on her lineup. Tina Charles, she shot a pretty good amount of threes. I don't think not sure if she made any, but once she got to the post, she was unstoppable. And the high-low passes for her and Megan Gustafson is gonna be nice to watch. But yeah, Phoenix just struggled to shoot from this game. Even Diana Taurasi wasn't. She didn't have too good of a shooting game either. So yeah, Vegas ended up winning that handedly. Okay. The next game was a shorthanded Minnesota Lynx team versus the Seattle Storm. Seattle started the game with a lot of turnovers, and Sylvia Fowles just could not be stopped in the post at all. So the game was very close up until close at halftime. It was tied at halftime. And then Seattle became the aggressors on defense coming out the half and just absolutely took it to Minnesota. Next thing you know, Seattle outscored Minnesota by 20 in the third quarter, and then the game was basically over at that point. So the next game we have was Connecticut Suns versus the New York Liberty. We have the reigning MVP and Jonquel Jones taking on Sabrina Ionescu. So Connecticut started off the game playing tough defense, and they were double teaming the ball screen when Sabrina Ionescu would run off the screen, which would cause her problems. Eventually, that defense led to transition buckets for them. Connecticut heavily attacked the paint yesterday with their transition. It was just crazy. Every time they would get the ball, they were getting it into the paint, and there was almost no stopping them. So in the second quarter, Sabrina Ionescu shined. She was hunting her shot more. She was making better decisions off the ball, the double team, and was able to find her open player off the pick and roll. Then New York upped their defense, and then Connecticut started turning the ball over, which led to New York eventually taking the lead. Then in the third quarter, Alyssa Thomas was absolutely unstoppable. She has 2 torn labrums in her shoulder, and she still was just attacking them, and there was nothing they could do. So she ended up scoring 14 points in the third quarter. And then the game was tied after the third quarter going into the fourth. So then the fourth quarter was real back and forth until eventually Sabrina Ionescu just kind of took over down the stretch, and then New York ended up winning that game. So that was a good game. Then our last game of the weekend was Atlanta Dream versus Dallas Wings. Atlanta Dream has 8 new players this year on their roster, including the number 1 pick in Ryan Howard. Starting off the game, Atlanta came off with great energy, and Ryan Howard looked good. She was knocking down threes, getting great blocks, just contributing into the team right away. So in the first quarter, Atlanta shot the ball really well. It was well-rounded scoring. Cheyenne Parker started. I think she scored like the first 6 points for them. At some point in the second quarter, Atlanta was up by 20. I was just about to turn the game off until Kayla Thornton and Marina maybe gave the Dallas a much-needed spark. And then flash forward to the third quarter, where Dallas only goes 1 for 18 on field goals. Yet they're still only down by 11 because Atlanta did not increase the lead. So here comes the fourth quarter. Arike and Marina maybe sub in mid-fourth, and they come off electric. Rike hit a shot, Mabry hit a few. Crowds into it. It looks like Dallas is going to come back. Cheyenne Parker and Marina Mabry are wrestling on the floor for the loose ball. Cheyenne Parker accidentally kicks Kayla Thornton in the face. Parker gets ejected. Marina Mabry gets hit with a tech. Shoot the free throws. About a minute later, Dallas gets another tech for having too many players on the floor. Even with all this, Dallas was still in range to win the game because Atlanta had won on a nearly 7-minute scoring drought. So they were still in position to win the game, but they struggled late in the fourth quarter to score. So Atlanta ended up winning the games. So that concluded the opening weekend. So excited for this season. And yeah, see you guys later.